Lee, and how are you today?
I'm good, thank you. Yourself?
Oh, thank you. Just want to start off interesting, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I know I met you in another blab, and you were very passionate about SEO and bad people that were purporting SEO to be a black art, when in actual fact it's a good process. So now I'm going to kick off with the basics. What got you into being an SEO, and what's your backstory?
Well, back in '96, when I left school, I was 16, and I fell into playing with Paint Shop, or MS Paint on the desktop at the time, and I got interested in that, and I was fortunate enough to be taken over to the US by one of my mum's friends to become a designer. I spent a little time enjoying design, but then I fell into SEO by mistake. I saw this name Google pop up, and I got curious how websites gain their positions and things like that. So in '97, that's when I started SEO, if you like. And that really is my backstory. That really is how I fell into it. And I've been doing SEO. I mean, I'm 34 now, I think. I stopped counting after 28.
Too many
Yeah,
nights in front of the screen. So you've been doing it for a good 17 odd years then.
yeah.
Wow.
So I've been doing it for about 17 years ish. So I've worked in many industries, immigration, financial, automotive, which is kind of where I am now. General SEO, work on e-commerce websites, work on informational websites, worked with mastermind groups to help people in there get the best out of their website and digital marketing. So done a few bits.
Okay, so we've got a hi from is it Davon? I hope I pronounced that correctly. Sorry. So you've obviously seen a lot of changes over the 17 years with all the different ways that Google do this and then they don't do that, and then they decide to change it from, is it Penguin or whatever, Panda, and I mean all that is straight over my head.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm guessing that's why you fall out with some of those SEO guys that are deliberately making it so it is over my head.
Well, I think SEO has always been one of these things where if it really does come down to the sales pitch, because if you're handing over, let's say, £1,000 per month to somebody, you're not really getting anything back. You're not getting a physical product. Whereas if you pay £1,000 for a web design, that's what you get. So you really have to have belief and trust in the people or person delivering your SEO strategy, if you will. So it really is one of those things where it needs to be complete trust on both sides. And I've seen a lot of people just offering poor services and just poor information and poor advice. That isn't true, or it's way out of date. And it just doesn't deliver.
So how have you seen the want for a better word, a trick of a bad SEO trying to cover up as opposed to a good one, so that somebody like me who doesn't know one from the other, I just know that I need it because everybody keeps saying I need it. How would I know, and what's the usual telltale signs that somebody is faking it whilst the other one is actually making it?
Well, I guess it is hard to tell. To be fair, you could look at people's current profile on their website. You could do research on them online. You could look at their portfolio. You could look at results they've delivered. That may give you some insight, but generally, what I see or have seen in the past, a lot of big words used, smoke and mirrors tactics, because when people start talking about algorithms and stuff like that, it generally goes over people's heads. They've got absolutely no idea what SEO is and how and how websites are ranked, and people will see it as a black art, or or something like that, or some kind of mysterious thing that we do. But I kind of personally, I kind of buck the trend. I don't really use big words. I don't really use, um, words that you probably only heard of if you're looking at thesaurus, or something like that. I just kind of tell it how it is, and I think that is really the best way to gain the client's trust or potential client trust. Making or showing them that you understand and you can relay that technical information into layman's terms.
Okay.
It's more of an education piece rather than a sales pitch.
So by keeping it simple, because
Yeah,
it's quite rare nowadays for an SEO person to be with clients like you have for 6 years. Usually I hear SEO kind of staying with clients for about 2 years. First year is a
yeah,
trial, second year is to capitalize on what they did on the first year, and then third year the client seems to wise up.
yeah.
So for you to actually be somewhere for 6 years, consulting and helping them is quite a granddaddy as far as SEO.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of lucky in that sense because I have been with clients, as say, for 5, 6 plus years. I think my oldest client is 10 years,
Wow.
and the reason why they stick with me is, or what I like to think is because I keep producing um, great ROIs year on year, higher traffic year on year. Yes, we have our bad patches, don't get me wrong, but if you, I think if you're completely honest with the client, if you send in a report on 1 month and the traffic's down, conversions are down for whatever the reason, if you're completely honest and say, well, it's because I didn't do this or we didn't do that, then they're open to suggestions. But if you go in and start blaming it on Google or the algorithms, you're just kind of hiding behind Google because they don't know
Ah,
what it is.
so
Um,
it's actually down to the attitude of the SEO. So are you saying, like, for example, if you don't submit a form 1 month, that could actually have quite a knock-on effect, or?
I guess not necessarily, but if you're doing poor link building practices and your link building gets wiped out by Google, by Panda, Penguin, one of the algorithms that are out there, then your site may get penalized. Rather than going to the client and say, look, this strategy didn't work, it's my fault, I created that strategy, and taking ownership of that.
Mhm.
Um, you know, yes, that might lose you a client, but at the same time, at least you're completely honest. Yes, a link building strategy.
It's a very good question. What is
Um, it, it can be. I mean, it is part of a strategy because that an SEO strategy is, or in my opinion, you have technical SEOs, which I'm more technical. I like to get my hands dirty. I like to get in the code and actually, get stuck in. And then you have inbound marketing people or outbound, if you like to call it that are link builders, content creators, social media experts. And it all fall under the umbrella SEO. But yes, I think link building is still a strategy because you need links in order to be found in Google. Social media just doesn't cut it. You know, um, but yeah, again, going back to what we're talking about, I think if that site got wiped out or didn't do well because of your link building, for example, then links got wiped out, and you just say, well, that's Google's fault because they changed the algorithm. Who being dishonest, you'd be completely lying to that client just to keep face, really. Yes, I've lost clients in the past because I've probably been too honest. um, but that's not a bad thing, I don't think.
is there many link strategies out there, or because I keep hearing and I keep seeing, like, there's PR7 or 7 tier and 2 tier, and so yeah, for me, I wouldn't know, even if I'm looking at a Google Analytics report, I'm not too sure what is good, what is bad. It
Yeah.
kind of looks pretty.
Yeah.
And again, how would I know the difference between a good one, a bad one, and a downright absolute nasty one who's not doing the work but taking the money?
Well, I think completely honest and transparent, I think they do, and show you everything they do in terms of sending you an Excel sheet with links, with URLs to those links where they've been placed. That should hopefully instill some trust in you. But I think when it comes to links, SEO realistically really is you pay for what you get. If you're paying £200 a month to £500 a month for SEO, you're going to get poor links. It's as simple as that. They're going to be, probably $30, between $15 and $30 links on websites that are just made for links, just for that purpose. But then if you're paying from $1,000, $15, $2,000 upwards, and then you could get better links on more quality blogs, other kind of related websites. And then obviously as the monthly budget increases, you could potentially get links in newspaper websites. So it really is down to budget,
Okay, so I've been seeing like all these Twitter followers and by Facebook likes and all this. How does that affect the SEO? And is it ever any good or any work?
No, don't do it. Buying fake followers or fake likes is completely misguided. I think it may have been 8 months ago, a year ago, where Instagram went through their system, wiped out people with fake followers.
Can they tell?
Yeah, just by inactivity, IP address, a number of different factors. But you see the profile that had 26,000 followers wiped out overnight.
Wow.
Just because people have paid $5 for 100, followers or whatever the case might be. So no, don't do it. It's not worth it.
Okay.
Completely agree.
Thanks, Jackie. So, are you actually? What's your part? Obviously, it's social media, but what's the difference between social media and SEO? Is it not one and the same? And I'll duck quickly out the way.
I suppose it all links together, I suppose. But I work with my clients. To coach them into get more engagement from social media. Okay. And what you were saying about buying followers and things, especially on Facebook, that actually counteracts your reach and things, because if you buy followers, then a certain percentage of your post will be seen by these bought non-followers, and they're never going to interact with what you put out there. So it's far better to have people that are liking your page, fewer people liking your page because they like what you have to say, because then they're more likely to engage with those posts, which then actually means the reach of those posts will expand because of the engagement and things.
So that's pretty much what you're saying is what Ted Rubin said the other day, that he'd rather watch a Twitter follower who had 100 people following him and following them, but the Twitters are about 100,000, because it means to him that person's totally engaged with those 100 people that they're following and being followed by.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. It's like you don't have to necessarily buy followers. What you can do on Twitter is you could have a pay for a follow, unfollow app. So that means that basically the app goes and follows people on the certain keywords that you put in. And then a certain percentage of people are possibly on a automatic follow back.
Yeah.
So as soon as you follow, they follow. So you've got follower. Some people automatically go down and just follow back people that follow them and don't look.
Yeah.
Whereas people like me will go through and see who's followed me, see whether they're of interest to me, see whether they're local to me and things like that. And also take a look whether I think they're on an automatic follow back.
Right.
And it's a very quick way to build up your followers and looks amazing. But if you're not engaging with those followers and building a relationship with those people, it just looks good.
I don't do the automated. I will follow people back, but I will do a quick checkout to see, make sure they're not the
Spammers.
The spammers, which are the buy Twitter followers. Follow me, and you too will get 30,000 people following you. It's sort of like, yeah, okay. I find it very a noisy place. So
yeah, but one of the questions I wrote it in the sidebar. But which would you think, Lee, is better, to concentrate on the actual SEO of the site, so getting the words right and putting the words in the right places and things like that, or actually going out and trying to either get links in directories and things like that, or guest blogging and things like that?
On site, 100%. Directories, unless it's a niche directory, there's no point anymore. In a general directory, absolutely concentrate on getting your title tag correct, your meta description, meta keywords. I don't use them. I haven't used them for years, but that's a personal preference whether you want to use them.
Why don't you use them?
Because Google made them redundant years ago. So there's no point. But some people do put them in there. It's just a personal thing. Make sure your internal links all link to the correct pages. Make sure they all go to where they should do. Make sure your information architecture is all linking to the right places. If you put in links within a piece of content to another page, make sure it's all correct. So getting your website in a good place will help you a lot more than spending time going to these directories, submitting your website, waiting for a day to a year to be accepted. That isn't an immediate impact. And on-site SEO is probably the most overlooked thing people do. They just think, oh, I need links. I'm going to go out and get all these links. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to rank higher. If your website is done correctly from an on-site point, there's no reason why your content cannot be shared across the social platforms. And obviously when people come to your site, they'll be able to flow through it, with ease and not go to any long pages. Also, from a search engine bot or spider point of view, when they come to your website, it will be free flowing. There's not going to be any obstacles. They're not going to be indexed in wrong pages. All the pages are going to be categorized as they should. Something a lot of people forget, Google and Bing, they index pages, not websites. So, when I hear a lot of people, my website's just been indexed by Google. No, it hasn't. Your individual pages are, because each page falls into a different category based on your title and information within that page. So yes, okay. On page.
What about people? I see this a lot, that they don't SEO the images. Do you think that's quite important, or don't you think that's as important?
Yeah, I mean, I do. A pair of blue shoes, I wouldn't just leave numbers.jpg. I would put blue-shoes.jpg. Because one of the automotive blogs that I've worked on in the past, I think 40% of traffic at the time came from image search. People looking for the latest BMW vehicles or latest Mercedes. People will generally gravitate to Google Images to look for that.
Yeah. I do a lot of Pinterest. So often if I pin an image, I'll see it, the description comes up and it'll say sidebar. And so the developers obviously use the description of where he's placing it within the website rather than actually describing what that image is. because I think a lot of people, some developers, shall we say, don't actually know about or think about optimizing the images.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole debate, you know, a web developer's version of search engine optimization versus a true search engine optimization person, to, you know, the black and white, completely different. So you will probably come across websites where you'll see staff meeting.jpg, you know, they've got nothing related to that picture, you know, in about us pages, you know. So yes, optimize your image if you can do.
Excellent, thank you.
Ed's got a lovely question here, and that might be actually for both of you. Hang on one moment. Hopefully we can get him to say hello. He can do 5 minutes, but he's got a wonderful question.
It's the only time I've joined a plan where someone has said, "I'll kick you out." So thanks. So I'm hearing myself a lot. I don't know why. Anyway,
you've got 2 blabs open. That's why.
Oh, have I? Oh, yeah. There you go. Much better. Sorry about that. Thank you for that. My question is whether there's any actual. I hear it often said that social media has a big impact on SEO, and I know that search engines are very tight on holding on to this data, but I've never actually seen any proof that that is the case. So that's my question. Is there any proof? Is there any actual data that says that social media activity has either a positive or negative impact on SEO?
Shall I go for a little bit on that, or?
Yeah, you go for it.
Well, I don't know how it really impacts on SEO, but I was at a networking event yesterday, and there were quite a few people at the networking event that didn't have Twitter or anything like that I could find. So I was having to go in to Google and try and put their names in and the businesses to see, you know, their websites, and then to try and see if they're on Twitter and things to follow them, because that's just my preferred way of keeping up with people.
Fair enough.
And there were lots of them that were bloody impossible to find. And, you know, if you've got a Facebook page that is the name of your business, if you have a Twitter page that has the name of your business, if you have a Pinterest page which has the name of your business, and you have a website and LinkedIn, you know, all these places, it means you're going to appear when somebody puts your business name into search in Google, you're going to appear in more places and be easier to find. But that's my opinion.
I've got to say, Jackie, when you put it like that, it sounds obvious. I guess my question coming back to that is, what therefore drives, I mean, just having the presence, I suspect, doesn't automatically assume that if someone Googles your name, you're going to appear on the first page or high up Google. So does there have to be a specific volume of activity that therefore encourages your social media account to appear on high up in the search engine? And I guess secondary to that, does that therefore impact on the likelihood of your website appearing higher up, because naturally they're going to be linked?
When it comes to, does social media have an impact on SEO? No, is my opinion.
Right. Well, anyway, thanks very much. Great for letting me in. I'll see you guys soon.
Yeah, have a good day. No, I think, you know, because Google, they do index Twitter. You see that. They do read comments from Facebook, but they don't read the likes or what is going to be dislikes. There's a whole debate at the moment, you know, a good topic you brought up, Ed, you know, how does social media influence SEO? Well, I look at it from rather than influencing ranking, I look at it, how does it influence from an online reputation management point of view, you know, and a branding point of view, you know, because Jackie quite rightly said, having those profiles, I think you said too, Ed, you know, when you type in my name, I think LinkedIn is the first
one that comes up is normal.
First one on the website, you know, and generally the social profile will follow, and a company should have social profiles to help with, you know, again, branding, reputation management online. But does it have an impact on SEO? I think no, but it does help with engagement, brand engagement. There's not enough data out there, not enough concrete data out there. There have been various studies done, but they don't go deep enough into, the actual algorithms. We don't know at the moment. Facebook will not open up their system so Google can crawl and index it. So until that happens, which may not, I don't think there is. I don't think we'll ever know.
But then also Google can't do things like have a measurement of conversations like we're having now, which I'm finding so more valuable than sometimes trawling through and looking who's on air and their information. I've had more connections and better in-depth engagement this way than I have ever on trying to do Google. Plus also with Google, it can't, whilst it's doing Facebook, I can't see the conversations that are going on Facebook and some of the details that are going on Facebook. I have to do that within Facebook, and that's in itself is quite bad because it's almost a one-way kind of conversation again there. So I find that there is a complete distinction between social interaction or social media and the SEO stuff, which I'm finding that I've got to marry the two up together.
I've got another question for Lee. You hear a lot of people saying that you need to be on Google Plus because then that you'll rank better on Google. What's your opinion on that?
No. And YouTube as well, I suspect, on that, given that it's owned by Google as well.
YouTube.
Sorry?
Can I just?
YouTube's owned by Google, right? So,
yeah.
Therefore, would there be a natural, given A, the fact that it's video, and B, the fact that it's owned by Google, would there therefore be a natural link between that and SEO?
Not really, because YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world, and it has an algorithm for ranking the YouTube videos. So only because you have a YouTube account and a video doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to help you rank better in google.co.uk or .com. That there's no correlation between the two. So no, and having a Google Plus account, that when there was a big thing about a year and a half ago, having a Google Plus account will in fact help you rank better, which is completely not the truth.
So can I forget Google Plus?
Well, Google Plus is dying anyway.
To be fair, was that just a ruse to get people to sign up to Google Plus?
It would be. I mean, Google Plus was an exercise of data extraction. Just for just like Facebook, they tried to take on Facebook. It didn't work, but what they have managed to do is get everybody to have a Google account, for these things as well. So it really was a data mining exercise. That's it.
Well, can I just ask Ed a quick question, because you're helping a lot of people, and I know, and then I'll kick you out. I promise. But what's your interest and how have you had to use SEO? What was the reason behind your question, basically?
So the reason behind my question is that I'm a mentor for many businesses, and a lot of many businesses I'm connected to through the co-working space. And naturally, all questions lead down to one of two aspects. It's cash flow and customers. One of the biggest aspects of finding customers is your reactive marketing through SEO. So that was purely the reason behind it, was to ascertain, if I was more asking the experts, that if I'm more knowledgeable in that, then I can more, because all I'm answering now is simply, I've not seen any, I was kind of erring towards Lee's response anyway, in as much as I've not seen any data that convinces me that social media has a big drive on SEO, which has always been my response. So I guess I was looking for something a bit more definitive, which by the sounds of things you've given.
Okay.
So I appreciate that.
All right then. So are you happy?
Always.
Good. Shall I kick you out now then?
You can kick me out.
Bye.
Bye.
Sorry, just to explain, Ned said he'd only got a few minutes just to pop in and ask his question, but thank you. That's sort of like absolutely lovely answers from you two, because I kind of had the same kind of questions on the side, but I didn't ask them all the time, because I know that people look at me and kind of go, oh yeah, you don't get it.
But that's fine though. I mean, I don't know. I don't do social media. probably like what Jackie does, but there's no such thing as a silly question. And as an SEO or a social media consultant or a content marketer, I guess they fall under the good SEO, if you like. You should take time to educate your clients and or potential clients, or even people that just want to know.
Okay.
I mean, I've been in some meetings with people that would turn over 40 million a year businesses. Now, I wouldn't be able to run a car dealership or car supermarket. I haven't got a clue. My knowledge is in digital marketing. So if they ask me that question, I don't expect them to know it. So again, it should be an education piece.
Okay, so one of the things that I was told by someone else who does a lot of social media is that SEO is dead, that I shouldn't put any money into SEO, and that I need to do more of the social media side and get into hashtags and doing all that side and building up groups and lists and followers and stuff. Now, I'm so used to being behind the scene. I'm not a spotlight person, although Blab is sort of like, I'm loving it because it allows me to talk to but only a few people at a time. I can't do with big crowds. So is he right that SEO is dead? And B, I think the other thing they said was the most popular search engine now is Siri, because people just getting out their mobile phones and using the first thing that's there, which happens to be Siri. So Google is actually third in the list. You don't use it.
I never use it. I go to Google or YouTube if I'm wanting to know something.
I'm trying to think of a politically correct answer to that without swearing. No. Well, that is just completely wrong. For anybody that thinks SEO is dead is simply don't know what we're talking about, in my opinion. Content discovery has to come from somewhere. People has to find it somewhere. And, so if you share something on social media, where does that come from? Unless it's in the offline world, straight onto social media, fine. But most of the time, you may read a news article on the BBC website, mm-hmm. or using your web browser on your phone, and then share it across the social media platforms. So I think my data tells me, my analytics for the clients that I have and in the past, that SEO isn't dead. In fact, it's growing, and what's growing along with that is mobile search, but I think for somebody to say SEO is dead, it's pretty wrong. I mean, every single year you'll read an article of, SEO is dead, long live social media, and all this stuff. The reality is social media and SEO or search engines and pay-per-click, they all should marry together. As same as email marketing, every part of digital marketing should all come together as one entity.
So basically a company would need you and you, so need both a Lee and both a Jackie.
Yes. I mean, I couldn't do Jackie's job.
And although I know a little bit about SEO and using it on my site and try and think about it for the titles I use and things like that, I know very, very little in comparison to Lee. But I would say it is, I think possibly where they're coming from is that years ago, if you wanted a site to rank, mm-hmm. you paid somebody to do the SEO for it. And there was a lot of companies out there, I think, that took advantage of this because lots of people didn't understand SEO at all. And possibly didn't even have the knowledge that Lee does. And so sort of bamboozled people and spoke about algorithms and things like this. Whereas now, you can find out so much about SEO, some of it good information, some of it bad information. But I think today's business owners are a lot more switched on to what they need to do in the technical sense. But I'm sure there are still some people that do go to SEO companies that you know, aren't as good as Lee by the sound of things. But where social media comes in is it's building, I see it as building relationships. It's about engaging with people and talking with people. It's not about just building your followers up and this. It's actually having a conversation, asking people how they're getting on, asking what their problems are, what they need help with, and also networking. So sort of, I'm obviously going to go and have a look at Lee a bit later on. And so if any of my clients are saying, oh, do you know, I'm getting nobody to my site, I don't know what to do, I'm doing this, that, and the other, then if I know there's somebody that does SEO brilliantly, then I can say, well, you want to go to this guy, have a word with him. You know, he'll see what he can do for you, blah, 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 within your budget, or, you know, because again, a lot of people I think are scared that SEO is going to cost them a hell of a lot of money, and they're not necessarily going to, I don't know, get a result with it possibly, or how to measure that result. Because a lot of people, especially women, and I don't know whether you're the same, Cindy, but when I've been in a room and I've asked people how many of them go into Google Analytics and know where they're getting their traffic from, a lot of the men will put their hands up, but there's not many women, and I may be doing disservice, it might just be that the women that have been in the room with me, they don't tend to put their hands up and say that they know so much of what's going on with their traffic on the website. They will far more prefer to be in social media world and be developing conversations and relationships there than looking at the back end of their website and seeing about analytics.
Absolutely. I think we've got a hands up with Choice Zones. They agree with what you've just said. And they've also asked a lovely question, which is along this line, is that it's asking, is it good to have a best SEO? I'll tell you, they're a radio station.
Well, okay. I guess one of my biggest pet peeves is the word expert or guru. I just can't have it in this industry, SEO, because nobody knows what Google is going to do tomorrow. They might turn the algorithm completely upside down, and everybody will just panic and won't know what to do, me included. You know, so that word is best left for mathematicians, something that doesn't change for 100 years at a time. You know, so having the best SEO, define best SEO. You know, but who made a SEO? Sorry, I don't understand your question, Choice Zone. But having the best SEO, you know, having the best SEO on your website, that could be done by you, that could be done by somebody who you trust, that could be, you know, done by somebody who, you know, you just see in the Google results and you think, oh yeah, they look fantastic, and, you know, do that. But I do agree with you, Jackie, that people are scared to invest in SEO because it is such a, you know, it can be costly.
Right. Well, how was SEO first brought up? How was it first started?
Oh, I think it was back in 1997. A guy called Bruce Clay, I think it was, coined the term search engine optimization. Before that, it was just
the internet.
I
remember that.
Being a webmaster, you know, I mean, like back in '96, you had Yahoo directory. That was the go-to place, and you click through the
Alta Vista.
To find what you want. And then
Alta Vista was mine.
And then obviously Google, you know, and it was just coined by somebody, and it's been known as that ever since, you know. But you know, so I don't think that there has not been any exact science to it, you know, it just kind of evolved throughout the years. But I do see a lot of clients that come to me and be like, oh, Lee, you know, I've been spending £5,000 a month on SEO and I've been completely burnt. I have a 90-day get out contract, you know, and then a 30-day calling off period. So it's 6 months before they even get out of the contract, you know, and we want to do SEO again, but we're not prepared to put up that kind of money until we see results. Well, SEO isn't cheap. For somebody who knows what they're doing, it's not cheap. Long gone are the days of cheap SEO. But at the same token, what I try to do, if I can't fit them in my budget, or if their budget doesn't, fit the project, should I say, I try and advise them as much as I can what they can do on their own website, because anybody can learn SEO. SEO is simple. It's just about strategy and process, just like anything, But the thing with SEO, you just got to stay on top of what Google are doing. Don't chase the algorithms or anything like that, but just make sure you got solid foundations. If you have solid foundations, just like building a house, then you'll be absolutely fine.
Okay. Well, we've got. Sorry. Would you like to introduce your name rather than just Choice Zone Radio?
I'm Belinda. I'm part of the radio.
Oh, hang on.
Belinda.
The internet connection is very, very bad, I'm afraid. Have you got a headset or something? Because there's a time lag and we can't quite hear you.
I'm on the mobile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not doing so well at the moment.
Let me put my laptop. What do you mean?
No. It's really, really bad, I'm afraid. You're quite lagging. I'm going to... Let me put you to your side. Do you have a question, if you can get that across quickly?
Yeah. I want to know when the SEO first put up. Like when it first started.
When SEO first started?
Yeah.
Right. So that's what Lee was saying.
And who made it?
Who made it?
Yeah.
Right. That's what Lee was actually just saying with coined back.
Yeah, no, I was only 17 when I started SEO. I didn't coin the phrase. It was, if I remember rightly, it was a gentleman called Bruce Clay, who's quite prominent within the search engine industry. Yeah, exactly, Ed. So yeah, no, I didn't start SEO. I would have loved to be that person, but I didn't. Unfortunately, I was too busy,
Right. So
doing what 17-year-olds do.
Yes, 3 years ago from Ed. In that case, he has come out with a very good question, though. I thought he was only had 5 minutes, but he's still here on the side, which is lovely. How do you separate the wheat from the chaff of SEO consultants, which is my biggest problem?
I think going back to when we first started the conversation, it is hard these days. Do you go with a company that has offices around the country? Do you have office that have got a big portfolio that can show results that they've done or done for completed clients in the past? Mm-hmm. That would tend to be my first port of call. Looking at people's results and having them explain them to you. And I think something. I mean, again, what I personally try and do, I try and get as personal as I possibly can with the potential clients, just because nobody knows their business better than them. And the closer that I can get to their client and understand their business model and the way their business works, the hopefully the better that I can produce results for them and get into their kind of mindset and get into their clients, their potential customer mindset. So sorting the wheat from the chaff, generally just speak to them about SEO. And if they use all the big words and smoke and mirrors, just forget them. You just want somebody that can break down all the internet jargon or search engine jargon into simple, understandable language.
I must confess, I first started on the internet about 1994, if not slightly earlier. Oh gosh, first degree, 93. And it was a totally different place to where it is now. And I was a webmaster back in 96 as well. And the site was getting ROI. We were getting traction with the clients. Then the company that I was working with then took on an expert in internet, and all the site hits went down. And even the CEO was moaning, saying, well, why aren't we getting the inquiries that we were through the website, etc. Nowadays, when I look at it, it is so different. I don't know where to start. So I've had to go through looking at what people have said that they've had positive projects, as well as what's happening with Companies House, whether they are actually going or whether they're long firming, as in they keep starting up a new company every year and another one's going dormant, because I've had a few of those as well as in the past. And also monitor them for about 6 months to a year before actually engaging with them, just to see if they're actually still sticking around, because that's the other thing I've learned with some of these SEOs, is that they do tend to move around quite a bit.
Yeah, I think just to answer Ed's question, but how would I find you or people like you, Lee, if I wasn't on here? Well, I mean, I generally like to stay behind the scenes. I've never really been a big fan of being public. I guess that's changing now. But, you know, I think there are great SEOs around the country. You know, they're not just a handful, you know, that just kind of lurk here and there. There are some fantastic people around the country that do know their stuff inside out, and probably more than me, because ultimately SEO is a lot more theory-based than it is practical. You know, so just speaking to companies that are well established, that can show you results, I guess, you know, Cahidia are results-driven business. And if they can show you and prove to you they've actually done great work on all client sites, that should give you a good indication of being able to find the right SEO for your business. But I think even with that, you've got to be careful, because when you're looking at the you know, keywords they might present you, anybody can rank a page with the title "I love monkey wearing blue socks," you know, a completely obscure keyword. But to rank something like kitchen units or used car supermarket or a truly competitive keyword, they're the kind of people you should be looking for, not for people that, you know, can I don't know, can rank for Candy King vanilla fudge muffins, you know, because that's easy. You know, you can write a blog post and do that, but it's truly difficult keywords that you want to be searching out, you know, and ROI as well. You know, so.
But that's the thing, that I just put the little bit of a comment there, and it, you know, it is very difficult if people are flinging money at pay-per-click to appear in the top adverts, and if people are putting a lot of money into SEO, they may not actually, and you may disagree with me, Lee, on this, they may not actually be the best person for the job or for your business to work with. It's just that they realise the benefits of using pay-per-click and SEO to rank their website and things. And it goes back to what Lee was saying. You have to have the conversation with the prospective business you're going to work with to see if you could get on with them, because if they are talking jargon a lot and you're feel a bit bamboozled, as though they are trying to pull the wool over your eyes to get you into a long-term contract, you've got to be willing to ask those questions and keep asking them until you find the ones that sound as though they know what they're doing. And obviously getting testimonials from their happy clients and seeing the results that other people have got. But, you know, it's amazing who you can find on social media. And I'm loving Blab, because I'm meeting so many amazing business people and people that are willing to get in front of the camera. Because the problem is also with looking at somebody's website, you don't know whether they've written the content of those blog posts that sound as though they're really knowledgeable about their business.
Put them off Fiverr.
Yeah, or they could have somebody that's blogging for them and they're not actually as good as the blogs make them sound.
So,
whereas engaging is where I think it does come from, whether that is picking up the phone and having a word with a company you found through putting search terms into Google, or things like this.
Okay.
I think also, I mean, again, maybe just me, I don't know, but I have so much belief in myself, how I don't want to say how good I am at SEO, but yeah, I just do month-to-month contracts. I don't sign people into 6-month contracts at a
Right.
time or 12-month contracts. If you're good enough at your job, you don't need to. You know, and as I started off by saying, my oldest client's 10 years old, and it's a month-to-month contract. You know, it's
Okay.
you know, it's
So for a small business who has a website and knows that we've got to get a reach out there, what would you say are the key points that we really need to make sure we've got? And we'll do this kind of quite quickly so that we can kind of wrap this up, but because we've been on nearly an hour, guys, you know. Anyway, so just as a key point for a small business, medium business, mainly small business, micro businesses, what is it that we need to do? What are the basics so that we can make sure that our foundations are there over and above? And would a good SEO at least cover these basics?
having your website well optimized. If you're a small business like a plumber or builder or you know, an independent contractor, having your website well optimized is absolutely key, because that it costs nothing. You know, it's easy to do if you know your way around WordPress or whatever the case might be. Make sure you got the right title tag. Make sure you don't go crazy by writing like 200 characters or something crazy like that. You know, independent plumber in Doncaster, Scotland, Wales, you know, and put in every single county, you know, just your location. Make sure your description is correct, because that will act as your call to action in the Google search results.
Description.
Yeah, from your website.
Okay.
Because
Yep.
in your website, obviously got a meta description, and then that will act. You'll see that under the big blue lines in Google. That'll act as your call to action. And having your content, you know, don't try and stuff in as many keywords as you can because you think that it's going to help in search engine ranking. It used to help dramatically, but now, you know, Google have openly said, write your content for your users, not for the search engines. You know, and it doesn't have to have the keyword in there, but if you know how to write properly, you'll get the keyword in there naturally anyway, you know. So, and just making sure your internal information architecture is correct, your website architecture is correct, making sure the links go to the right pages, don't go to any dead pages that don't exist anymore, and things like that. You know, that is probably just making sure your website is completely.
So in other words, as a small business, as long as I write a good brochure, as if I'm talking directly to my client with the right words, not doing the hard sell, as it were, but the actual information and informative, then theoretically I should have just as good a spot on Google rankings as a top-notch firm that is number one and with loads of keywords everywhere.
To a degree.
Theoretically.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you're something like a plumber, you know, you don't have to have a massive budget to do SEO. All you need is a great website or a blog. And as a plumber, you know, you can do how-to videos, upload them to YouTube with the right title, share them across the social networks. They may, you know, they may show up for in the main search engine for some search queries like how to change a stopcock or something like that. Okay. You know, and jobs like that, they're very, very simple, incredibly effective. But ultimately, Google is trying to be human, and as humans, we're question and answering machines. You know, and that's what Google is trying to be. When somebody inputs a query, they will go out to find an answer, and then obviously they will display the most relevant in the results.
Okay. Oh, good answer. Thank you very much. I was hoping to ask Jackie. Hang on. Hey. And then we'll close this up as well when Jackie comes on. So I was just going to ask you jumped out as well. Again, for a small business, what are the key things that we should be looking for to maximize our social media without having to spend all our time online, but are fundamental and the basics, and actually a good measure that we're talking to a good social media expert, and a good social media person, than someone who's trying to pull the wool over our eyes and just take our money and kind of bamboozle us with big long words and phrases and stuff.
Okay. So the first thing is to learn the basics of the platforms you want to work on. So, and be consistent across those platforms. So as close as you possibly can, use the same username. So obviously I did a miss thing when I came up with the name of my business as Social Media Links, because on things like Twitter and Pinterest, I can't get the blooming S on the end because it's too many characters, but keep it as close as possible. And then, although I was saying about being on LinkedIn, Pinterest, I'm on most of the social media sites because that's my job. I need to be on there to be able to give advice to my clients on the different ones. And I'm active on most of them. I'm not as active as I could be, but you have to juggle working with clients and doing your own social media. And that's the thing. If you come across a social media consultant that isn't on social media very regularly, or isn't on a site that they profess to be able to advise on, then how do they, if they haven't got a business site on Pinterest, how can they tell you how to use Pinterest?
Yeah.
To my mind, yeah, they can have read a few articles on it, but if they're not on there using it and knowing how it works, then how can they advise you on that? So being consistent, choosing a couple of platforms. If you are wanting to work with a consultant, then again, they want to be interested in your business and be asking you questions about your business and your ideal clients. Sometimes I'll work with a client and I'll know that they need to be on one platform, but when I suggest that platform, they're like, oh no, I hate that platform. And there's no point me trying to get them to do that platform if they hate it, because it's not going to work, because they're just going to go on there going, oh, I hate being on bloody Facebook, I bloody hate, and it's going to come through in how they post and things.
Well, even if their clients are there?
There are clients everywhere.
Okay.
I prefer Twitter. You know, how many clients does a business need to be successful? There are, I mean, okay, Facebook is the biggest one, but you also have to look at what people do on Facebook. Are you always looking for business on Facebook, or are you keeping up with your friends on what they're doing and things?
Me personally, or is just a general question?
Well, yeah, I mean, generally people are not always on Facebook unless they're business people per se, to be sold to or be there. And some people do say that it's annoying when you're getting the ads coming for things. Anyway, so try and be consistent. Don't just go out trying to follow as many people or get as many followers. Work on engaging with the few you've got, so that people, when they come to your social media profile, say, oh, she interacts with people. I can see that she's answering questions and doing that sort of thing. So seeing that there's a point to following you on Twitter, or sharing great content, that has to be a biggie. Most of the things I share, I will have read the article before I share it. Because I don't want to be sharing there's enough rubbish out on the internet as it is. So I always make sure that I share quality information to my followers, because that's why they follow me, because they know I'm going to share good quality information that's going to be useful for them. But yeah, I could waffle on about this for ages, but does that help? Is that the sort of thing you wanted?
Well, it is. It's we've got Erin who's going to try and jump in with audio, but she's I'm going to just say okay, because she made a point that she thinks that people need to change their mind about platforms, so I'd like to just pick her up a little bit more on that, if I may. I don't know if she can hear us yet.
Hello, yes, can you hear me? Am I coming out? Hello?
We can hear you. Can you hear us okay, Erin?
Yes, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, she's not camera ready, so talking.
Yes. Yeah, I was listening to what Jackie was saying, and I totally liked a lot of the stuff that she was saying. And she was saying that some clients say, "Oh, I hate this platform," and I understand that because I also work with clients as a social media strategist, and I really think that they just need to change their mind. I mean, I just kind of drill it when they don't get it. I drill it into their head until they get it. I mean, that may sound horrible, but they need to get it,
Sometimes they need a bit of hand-holding and encouragement. I mean, the other day I had a lady and she was saying, oh, she really needs to get to grips with social media, but she hates it. So I was like, well, what is it you hate about it? Is it a particular platform that you hate? Or is it that she's not comfortable with being visible, or she can't think of what to share? In which case, those things I can work on with my clients. So if it's a case of Twitter, they find it very difficult to write a tweet in 140 characters. In that case, you have to model for them and show them what to do. And then it's just a thing of practicing. I mean, when I started out on Twitter, trying to get a blooming tweet in 140 characters was incredibly difficult. But now I've practiced and I can get the information across there. But so, yes, sometimes they need a bit of hand holding and encouraging. But sometimes people have big blocks, and I prefer to go with an easy start for them so they can see that they can get some results before we go on to the...
Well, Sam's made a bit of a point of, it's like you're going to love it in 6 months, so let's just skip over that. Is that where you sort of like try and say people, give it a little while and see how we go with it? Is that...
I think that a lot of times we need to have conversations and really bring out what their fears are. Like Jackie said, figure out why they hate it, right? Why do you hate it? What is it that you hate about it? And then fix it for them, because the reality is if they're not informed, they're going to keep, hitting their head up against the wall. And you need to ultimately, if you've studied enough and you know what's best for them, you're the authority, you're the expert, you know what you're talking about. You're the one that has been studying this stuff for hundreds or maybe even thousands of hours. You kind of have to show them you don't know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? So in a nice way.
I sort of agree with that, but for example, for Lee doing SEO, it's something that if they've got the money for, they can hand it over to Lee with the confidence. And I don't really do social media management, because I believe the best way for businesses to do social media is to do it themselves and to engage with people. So I don't advise people, as I'm sure you don't either, to use it as a broadcast medium. And if somebody really doesn't feel comfortable going into Facebook on a daily basis, they're going to find every other job possible to do than go to Facebook, for example. So if you can start them off and see them getting results with a different social media platform, and they can build their confidence up, and then you can steer them into another, then, because I'm sure we've all had an expert tell us what we should be doing with our business, and we believe they're an expert. We can see it because there's the social proof, we've read their blog posts. But if we've got a block for it, we can find so many other jobs that need doing within the business before we do our SEO, if we're trying to do it ourselves and are finding it difficult, or before we go on to social media, or before we do our accounts or finances or whatever it is. So you have to be mindful of that as well, because otherwise, if you're constantly barging them that they need to be on Facebook, you need to be on Facebook, they're not going to stay with you as a client, because they're not going to get it. But anyway, I'm sorry, guys, but I'm going to have to go, because I've been on here too long already, and it's been really lovely chatting with you, Cindy and Lee. It's been
Thank you very much for your time, Jackie.
Go and hi, Erin.
Thanks, Jack.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Hi, Erin. I know Erin fairly well. We used to chat quite a lot But anyway, that's another blab. Yeah,
Yeah,
I need
tell
to
me
go.
more.
I need to go because I need to pick up my daughter. But I hope all the information that was useful. If anybody watching, connect to me
That's fine.
Twitter and ask me questions. And if I
Easy
feel like
peasy.
it, I might answer.
No, absolutely, and I'm loving the comments from Sam in the sidebar. It's she's spot on a lot of the time, and same with GMV marketing as well, going where the clients are. So I'm going to call this to the end then with thank you very much for your time, Lee, and thank you so much for everyone else for joining us. It's been very informative, and I'm going to take away quite a few of those little tips that you and Jackie came out with. Thank you very, very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank
Okay,
you. Bye.